Right now at 6, it's been almost 4 months since that catastrophic flood soaked the Naugatuck Valley. We're going to take a look at how relief efforts are going and also the issues that people are still facing.
Are cell phones a problem in your classroom? I'm Kay Pattyfoot in Cheshire. Coming up here, why surveys went out to parents asking for their input.
Gone, but not forgotten. A trailblazing former mayor is honored by the state and the city he served. More next on the life of the Honorable Thurman Milner.
All local, all morning. This is Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Good morning and happy Friday. Thanks so much for starting yours off with us here at Fox 61 and Fox 61 Plus America areas.
And I'm Tim Lammers. Happy Friday. Let's have a good weekend here. A lot of people have to do a lot of holiday shopping, so glad it looks like it's going to be dry at least. But as we get over to Rachel Piscatelli, our meteorologist here, it's going to be cold this weekend, isn't it?
It got cold last night.
Yeah,
I just walked from the car to the house and I was like, my hands are freezing.
Oh yeah, it's cold, and plan for those colder conditions out there today and really for the next couple of mornings too. So less wind is expected this afternoon. The winds were quite blustery yesterday, ranging anywhere from 30 to even 35 miles per hour at times, and it was taking a chunk out of what the real field temperatures were out there. Anywhere from 10 to 11 degrees colder than this time yesterday. 21 right now in Torrington, starting us off around 25 degrees in Willimantic and near 30 in the Elm City. I'm expecting maybe 1 or 2 locations just prior to that sun coming up to maybe make it down to the teens. So we have a few clouds this morning making way to sunshine this afternoon, moving from the mid-20s now into the lower 30s, and that's about it for our high temperatures today. 30 degrees in Torrington, 32 today in Willimantic, and 34 in Groton. Plan for colder mornings for the next several, really over the weekend, starting off Saturday morning in the teens and also for Sunday too. Sunshine around for our Saturday, a few more clouds for Sunday, although we are going to be trending dry over the weekend. Rain chances though increase for next week. We'll have more details on your 7-day coming up in just a bit. On the roads this morning here, well, most of the road work that we had out there has wrapped up for the morning commute. That was a difference in yesterday's commute and this morning's commute. Otherwise, here's what it looks like over in Hartford as you're traveling into downtown this morning, just out by Jennings Road. And your drive times from city to city, New Haven to Hartford, is 34 minutes both directions. Tim and Erica.
Rachel, thanks so much. One man is in critical condition after police say he was shot in the head.
Yeah, this happened around 9 o'clock last night in Hartford near New Britain Avenue. We know the victim is a man in his 30s. Now, some neighbors called 911, and the first officers to get to the scene did CPR until an ambulance arrived. Detectives said they also found surveillance video that they said shows a loud argument between the victim and another person.
We recovered some video in the area, both private and city. Shows a clear altercation before the shot went off. So these two individuals clearly knew each other. This was a personal dispute.
Well, we're told that detectives spent the night talking to people who might have seen what happened, but they could always hear from more people. So if you saw or heard anything, please call the Hartford Police. The Cheshire School District wants to update its decades-old policy on cell phones, but what exactly should those changes be?
Governor Ed Lamont and Education Commissioner Charlene Russell Tucker have called on school districts to implement policies on personal technology since August. The Cheshire School District took action and surveyed parents. Fox 61's Kay Pattyfoot has more on that.
Cell phones are used by nearly everyone, including students, but some schools say smartphones are a distraction when it comes to learning. Cheshire School District is considering updating its policy. Cheshire's Board of Education cell phone policy is 23 years old. The current Board of Education policy states a person who discovers a student with a pager, beeper, or cellular telephone should report the violation and confiscate the device and contact the parent or guardian. Since cell phones are used more than they were in 2001, each grade level has different practices for phones in school. For students in kindergarten through 6th grade, phones and any kinds of electronic devices are not permitted. For middle school students, phones and any kinds of electronic devices are not allowed during the school day. And for high schoolers, cell phones are allowed, but only during lunch and if needed in their study halls. Due to the practice and policy being different, Dr. Solon wants to adjust the policy.
Maybe it should reflect the current practice, maybe it should reflect something different, and we're getting stakeholder feedback to inform that process.
I think it's a responsibility of the parents to really teach the children, what's appropriate cell phone usage, when it's appropriate to use it, and how to use it. And so I just feel like the school is reinforcing something that the parents really should be instilling in their children at home.
The next policy meeting is on January 7th, and parents are welcome to attend or send additional feedback. In Cheshire, Kate Pattyfoot, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Okay, thank you. 6:05 on this Friday morning. Today, the first black mayor of Hartford, the first black mayor in all of New England, will be laid to rest. It's a continuation of the homegoing celebration for Thurman Milner.
Yesterday, he lay in state at City Hall so that people could pay their respects. Fox 61's political reporter Emma Wolfhorst has more on his life and legacy.
Former Mayor Milner passed away 2 weeks ago at the age of 91. He left behind lasting influence of positive change here in Hartford.
I'm Thurman L. Milner, Mayor of Connecticut's capital city of Hartford.
He was an accomplished activist, politician, author, and trailblazer.
This is a place I love. This is a place I'll be. Being raised in Hartford, being raised basically in poverty. If I can do it, there's no reason why they can't.
Milner grew up in the city's North End and became Hartford's first black mayor, serving from 1981 to 1987.
First of all, no one thought I was going to win, but I decided to run.
Milner also served as a state representative and state senator and was a former president and lifetime member of the Greater Hartford NAACP. The group says his legacy as a civil rights icon, community activist, and dedicated public servant will forever be etched in the history of our state.
I was only 10 years old, but I can remember that day or being out there on those days in Unity Plaza.
Milner cared deeply about his city, but also fought for the interests of Hartford on a national stage.
Come to my city and other cities across this nation. Go into both our public and private sector and match the number of minorities, black, Hispanics, and women at all levels of employment with the minority population of these cities.
Milner tirelessly advocated for civil rights and social justice.
I'm from a city with a population of about 137,000.
He broke barriers and paved the way for future leaders like former state representative Kenneth Green.
I had the opportunity actually to run with Thurman Milner for what we call town committee office years ago.
Green says Milner was a mentor, a leader, and a voice for the voiceless.
We've lost a great leader, but one of the things that I think we as a community, we as people have to do is remember their legacy and remember the kind of things that they would want us to learn so that we can pass that down to others.
I just want them to know that I was proud to be mayor of the city of Hartford, where I hope and pray that I served well.
According to his family, Milner's last words were, quote, "I love Hartford. I was born, raised, and lived in Hartford. I will die in Hartford and will be buried in Hartford." In the studio, Emma Wolfhorst, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Emma, thank you. Well, next Wednesday is going to mark 4 months since the catastrophic flood that hit parts of the Connecticut Valley.
Yeah, roads, bridges were washed away. Homes and businesses were damaged as well. Fox 61's Stefan Reels followed up on some of those impacted areas and shares the progress that has been made, but also the frustrations that remain.
If you were to drive down Maple Street today in Naugatuck, you might find it hard to believe that parts of it were underwater 4 months ago. And while some people tried to prepare for the holiday season, other people tell me they're still living through a nightmare. As people here in the Naugatuck Valley rush home for the holidays, people like Emily Brish,
the past 4 months have just been a complete roller coaster,
have had to say goodbye to theirs.
It's been a process. I don't know if we'll ever recover from this.
The Brish family home was ravaged by the August 19th floods, to the point that it was cheaper to tear down the home instead of repair it. Now, they've taken out loans more than the mortgage of their former home, and those loans have been hard to manage, making community support even more important.
As last week, we had some hiccups with the SBA of getting our loan funds actually made available to us.
If it wasn't for donations that I received from my GoFundMe, I wouldn't even be rebuilding my business.
Kathy Dibner had a chicken farm devastated by the flood. Since then, she was able to make some progress to rebuild after her request to FEMA was rejected. This after the agency said $10 million would go towards relief for Connecticut households impacted by the floods.
I appealed it and I still haven't heard from FEMA, and it's been over 60 days.
Now, Dibner and her neighbors are left asking what's next. since their usual updates have seemingly dried up, with no restoration timeline in sight from the government.
DEEP is supposed to be updating us bi-weekly. So the last update that we received was November 12th, and we still don't have any answers.
Have you kind of just like lost hope in that they're going to be able to take care of something?
I really have. So myself and our neighbors, we need answers on to who is going to fix this and restore our properties back to the way they used to be.
We've reached out to both the Small Business Administration and the Department of Environmental Protection for their response about these issues. We'll keep you updated on air and online as we learn more. But for now, in Naugatuck, Stephen Reels, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Stephen, thanks. Oh, New York State Police are investigating a deadly crash of a small plane just over the Connecticut border. At about 7 o'clock last night, a single-engine plane smashed into a guardrail on the median of I-684 in Harrison. That's just a mile and a half from the Westchester County Airport and less than a mile from the Connecticut border. Police say there were 2 people on the plane. One's dead. The other is in the hospital in critical condition. The crash shut down the interstate in both directions for several hours, but it's back open this morning. According to FlightAware, the plane was headed to the Westchester County Airport from Linden, New Jersey. The plane is being listed as being owned by Alitsky Leasing One LLC out of Tennessee.